We've just written our first JavaScript and we are not going to stop. So let's continue. Let's open up the browser again and let's go to the console. Something now I want to introduce you to is a built-in JavaScript function. And that function is very well known and it's called an alert. Now, when you tell the computer you want to run an alert, the computer sometimes needs certain parameters from us in order to understand or in order to execute fully that function or that code. With an alert, you need to give it text, because basically what you're telling the machine is that you want it to give the user an alert. But what do you want to tell the user? What is alert all about? So let's write alert. Okay, and you'll see also later in this course we go into functions. And functions have to, in order to execute a function, you have to enclose it within these parentheses, these brackets. So let's just alert the user, hello world. Now, what do you think is going to happen when I push the return key or enter key on a keyboard? Yeah, boy, yes. It's going to come up with the alert tab that we all have learned to love to hate. And there it is, my hello world, and it comes up with an alert. But check out this. If I push OK, check out the return value. Undefined. What is that undefined? Well, I'm going to share something with you now. It's awesome. I'm going to drop some knowledge. Let's check it out. We ran the alert function, and the alert function is just one of many JavaScript commands. So let's write it out on the screen, and let's dissect it. Let's understand why the return value is undefined, and let's understand this alert function, JavaScript function, in a bit more detail. So the alert word, we know that's just a special JavaScript function. You and I didn't have to go and write the machine code or tell the computer what to do, because JavaScript as a language has already done it for us. Now remember, and we spoke about this earlier, every expression, and an alert is just an expression, you're telling the computer what to do, in this case, show an alert, it has to return something. And in this case, the alert hasn't returned anything. And if it returns nothing in JavaScript, that just means undefined. Simple as that. And that's why that undefined word came up below our function call. And most people would stop here, but I just want to go into a bit more detail just so you understand what we're doing here. In between the brackets, we've written hello world. In JavaScript, and you're going to hear this in other programming languages as well, this is termed a string literal. I know it's a weird thing to call it, but it is just called a string literal. Well, what is a string literal? It's just a way of defining a kind of value called a string. And what's string? Well, a string is just text in programming. I don't know why we don't just call it text. Why do we call a boat a boat? I do not know. It's just the way it is. And a string literal tells JavaScript that the text is data and it's not part of the code. Otherwise, how does JavaScript distinguish between the word we wrote there, alert, and hello world? Hello world is not an inbuilt JavaScript function. It's just words you and I have created. And putting it in those little blue speech marks tells JavaScript, hey, this is a string literal. It's not part of the code. It is just data. And yep, here are the brackets, the parentheses. We've already said to execute a function in JavaScript, you have to enclose it in parentheses. It's just a rule that we have to remember. And you can see here, we ended the statement with a semicolon. Just like in English, when you got to end every sentence with a period or a full stop, same with JavaScript, you've got to end every statement with a semicolon. Now, strictly speaking, you don't have to use a semicolon. It's just good practice to use a semicolon. That's what I do.